Hey everybody, welcome to another lesson in Science 14. This lesson is going to correspond and relate to a lesson that you previously watched on diets. So we've talked about how diets, help with your body functioning and the food that we put into them. Now we're going to really, talk about, in relation to the information that we're taking in, the energy we're taking in, the food we're taking in, how does our body respond? How does it make sure that it's staying healthy and maintaining homeostasis? So we're going to talk about what is homeostasis. Now, keeping an internal balance. So the environment around us is always changing, and because of this, the inside of our body has to as well. If it's cold outside, you put on more clothes. If it's too hot, you're wearing just a t-shirt. So you're always changing to make sure that your body is in a normal state of functioning and you feel good, you feel comfortable, and you're happy where you're at. So homeostasis, what is homeostasis? So we have our definition just right here. So homeostasis, is the ability of our body to maintain an internal balance. So that is our definition. So, kind of what does that look like? What does that look like? So right now, we're going to look at this picture right over here. Now, first thing, we start at number 1. So we're in homeostasis. So we're in normal functioning. We feel good. However, we have a stimulus that produces a change. So, let's say it's too hot outside. The sun just starts beating down on your body. Now we go to step number 2. That change is detected by a receptor. So for example, in our body are thermoreceptors. They sense the hot external environment. So you have a sense. We go to number 3. The input information is sent along that afferent pathway. So you take that information in and you send that information then to your brain, which is our control center there. The next thing then in our brain, it's going to say, oh, wow, that's really hot. I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt, or I need to get in the shade. I need to drink water because I'm really thirsty. I'm dehydrated because of all this heat. And so you're going to get to number 4 there, where output information is then sent along an efferent pathway. And what that means is it's going to send information to your muscles, to your glands, to your maybe digestive tract, to your kidneys to hold water in so you're not sweating so much out. Or it's going to say, all right, body, you need to move out of the hot sun into the shade, so that's where your muscles are going to act. And then what we get there is a response. So the effectors tell something to do something. And then instead of having an imbalance like we have here when we initially sense something, we go back to being in homeostasis. You can also see at this picture over here, this kind of just breaks it down a little simpler. You have a variable, so a factor that changes. The receptor takes the information in, your brain or your control center interprets it and says, all right, this is what we need to do, and then it sends a message to the rest of your body and says, here's what you're going to do this. And then, again, always trying to stay in homeostatic functioning. Now, homeostasis maintains proper conditions for life. So meaning it's going to help us, stay alive. That's what homeostasis wants. That's what we need to do. So a couple things that we have that help, maintain our proper conditions for life are our enzyme levels. So they regulate the functions of cells in our body. So different enzymes are going to say, this cell needs to do this or this cell needs to do that. You're going to regulate the waste product levels. So your lungs are going to get rid of the carbon dioxide that is a waste product of your cells. Your kidneys are going to filter your blood in case you have a toxin in there. If you smoke or you take in alcohol or drugs, for example. Okay, your blood sugar levels, this one here. Your pancreas is going to release insulin. Insulin moves glucose to the cells from the blood. So all the food that you eat is going to be broken down into different forms of sugar, and your cells need those different forms of sugar to produce energy and to do their work. And insulin is what lets your cells take them in. Okay, water balance. The human bodies are about 70%ish water. So the hormones influence balance, which is necessary for cell activity. Your cells need to be hydrated so they can move, this sugar, for example, or these different waste products. They need to be well nourished. Okay, our heart rate, our blood circulation is increased or decreased based on our body's needs. So if you're cold, you're going to want to really promote blood circulation around your body to warm it up. Your blood is what carries, where the water is. Water is filtrated within your kidneys and your liver, where these waste products are transported in. And then last one here, the concentrations of substances in the blood. Organs and organ systems play a role in distributing various materials that circulate in blood to the rest of the body. And so that's what I was just kind of talking about here. All these things are in your blood. And so in relation to homeostasis, your blood has to circulate around so you maintain that balance. So what affects homeostasis? So previous lesson we talked about diet and sticking as close to Canada's food guide as possible. Lifestyle is another one. So in relation to maybe not getting enough sleep, not exercising, you're using drugs or alcohol or smoking, you're again not following that food guide, and you're taking in poor nutrients, you're just eating chips all the time or very high fat and high sugary foods. And then another big one here that really affects homeostasis is your genetics. So meaning who you are within relation to your DNA and that information that was, given to you by your parents and therefore given to them by your grandparents. So what do you get from your parents? Like a higher chance of high blood pressure. I know, for example, my grandparents both have high blood pressure, so does my dad. So therefore I have to, I'm sure when I get older, if I'm not eating properly, or not exercising, that I'm going to have to watch my blood pressure, because that can take me out of homeostatic functioning and therefore not be in a normal stance to live my life healthy. So what happens though when your body can't cope? Now I'm going to give you a few conditions that happen here. So diabetes. Now diabetes, you get diabetes usually from your lifestyle and your genetics. So sometimes you're just born with it. Sometimes based on the food choices and your lifestyle choices, you'll develop diabetes. So abnormally large amounts of sugar are in your blood and urine. So type 1 diabetes, you have a lack of insulin, and this leads to an increased sugar in your blood and urine. Now the symptoms are frequent urination, increased thirst, increased hunger, and weight loss, because your cells are not getting that sugar into them and they're not being nourished. Now an interesting fact about type 1 diabetes, back before the medical technologies that we have today, doctors used to actually taste urine, and that's how they knew somebody had diabetes, because the urine had a very kind of sweet taste to it. Now I don't know how they knew it had a sweet taste. That's kind of gross when you think about it. However, that's how they used to test diabetes back before our medical advances. Now another type of diabetes here is type 2 diabetes. Now unlike people with type 1 diabetes, the bodies of people with type 2 diabetes make insulin, but either the pancreas does not make enough insulin or the body cannot use the insulin. So therefore, even though you have it, it's no good really, and the cells won't use it to take in that glucose. So again, you're going to have those large amounts of sugar in your blood and your urine. Now most diabetics though, so down here, can maintain normal blood sugar levels from injections of insulin, a balanced diet, and an exercise. So they have to be very cognizant of the food that they're taking in, and then they're not elevating or decreasing their blood sugar levels too much. Okay, another form another thing that you can get when your body can't cope and is not in homeostatic regular functioning is ulcers, and these are usually a genetic thing. This consists of holes or breaks in the lining of the esophagus or stomach, and it's usually digestive juices then are causing burning, aching, or gnawing sensation in your lower chest region. This also can be due to your lifestyle, so we got to write that, and lifestyle. And that looks like a Y, that's an L. So if you're not eating the right foods, if you're smoking or something like that, it can damage your esophagus and lead to ulcers. But the nice thing about it is that it can be treated with antibiotics, and through changes in your lifestyle, hopefully can be regulated a little more. Okay, eating disorders. So these are a lifestyle choice that's going to take you out of normal homeostatic functioning. So big two are anorexia. So first one here, this is when people do not eat enough due to the fact that they think they'll get fat, or bulimia. People eat too much and then force themselves to vomit or take laxatives to get rid of the food before digestion. Now vomiting, though, if you're doing this, and you're throwing up all the time, vomiting is going to deplete your body of nutrients, affect your heart functioning, and it's going to damage the esophagus and teeth due to the acid in the vomit, because your stomach acid's coming out. Now treatments for these here are going to involve being educated on what a healthy body looks like, what these disorders can do to you, counseling, antidepressants, and hospitalization, where hopefully maybe somebody needs to regulate what you're doing if it gets to that point. Okay, heart attacks, these are lifestyles and genetics. Now during a heart attack, blood flow to the heart is restricted, so the heart fails to pump steadily, and therefore the heart tissue begins to die. So something's been clogged off in relation. So just like your heart pumps, if this is our body here, and here's our heart, and it's going to pump blood all the way down to here. Well, all around the heart here, there is arteries and veins because it needs to also nourish the cells within the actual heart muscle. However, one of these heart arteries here is going to get blocked, and therefore a section of the tissue within the heart is going to start to die. So that's an X over top of it. Now, I mean, that can be deadly. So that's called cardiac arrest when the heart stops. Now, treatment again includes a healthier diet, exercise, reduced stress, not smoking, taking excessive amounts of drugs or alcohol. And I mean, a big one is your lifestyle. I mean, if you have problems in relation to your genetics, you know, what food are you taking in? Are you exercising enough? Are you strengthening that heart muscle? Now, those are disorders that happen when you're not within regular homeostatic functioning. However, the cool thing, I mean, with medical advances that we have is that we have technologies now that can maintain our homeostasis. Now, a couple of them here we have, and these are all really in relation to our heart. We have an angiogram right here, this one. It's a hollow tube is inserted into the artery, and it provides an X-ray picture of the blood vessels. And then irregularities in your blood flow can be seen. So I mean, if you need to do something, you need to target, maybe you need surgery, you can see specifically where in relation to an angiogram. Okay, an angioplasty, this clears a blocked artery by threading a balloon in a hollow tube. When it reaches the blocked area, it's inflated and it enlarges the artery to normal blood flow. So I mean, it's kind of blowing up the artery so blood can get around the blockage. Okay, pacemaker here. This is an electrical device inserted under the skin and releases electrical charges to stimulate the steady heartbeat. Some people, around their heart, we have nerves, and it's those nerves that tell certain sections, the sections of our heart to beat and to pump the blood. Now, sometimes those nerve impulses are interrupted or they don't send the correct impulse or message to the heart. So what you need is a pacemaker, and the pacemaker then will keep the beating sequence correct. And then a Jarvik 7, this is an artificial heart. I mean, you don't hear a lot about these. These still are very, very new, and I mean, the longevity of these devices is not very high. And then the last couple here, we have a kidney dialysis. This is when the kidneys no longer function, so a system of tubes allows the blood to flow into a machine that removes waste products and can clean the blood and is then cycled back into the body. So you actually sit by a big machine, you'll have to actually get needles in your arm, and your blood's going to flow out of your body into this machine, so it's cleaned, and then, back into your body. And then the last one here, a colonoscopy. This is an endoscope, so a small camera is going to be inserted into your rectum, and a large intestine, which is going to provide a view of the lower digestive tract. This is going to check for abnormalities, cancer, inflammation, rectal bleeding. So I mean, do you have digestive issues? And therefore, through a colonoscopy, hopefully these can be identified. And again, you can either change your lifestyle and hopefully get back to regular homeostatic functioning. So that is homeostasis. Some of the what it is, conditions of it that can happen when you're not within homeostasis, and then technologies that can help get you back into homeostasis. So hopefully you took something from that, and thanks for listening.